It's fresh in here, but I'm starting to sweat, so I'm warm enough. Starting with the slow shifts. I should talk louder. I have to remind me. So, slow shifts. I have wide flat feet, soften to drop down. I soften my thighs, away from my floating wings, back and up. Yes. Oh, my volume of the head wants to go even further up on top of my legs, or even above of my legs. Up and over, soften back of my knee, and widen the inside of my mouth to go up and over, soften the knee, and soften my toes, spread them far, fat down, while I'm bringing my head up and over, the whole volume, feeling of the back of the head goes up and over, while the legs drop down, while fat wide feet, fat wide feet, fat wide feet, and rotating, fat wide feet drops down while the head goes up, nice, and head floats up and over to my left, dropping down fat feet, down fat feet. Oh, I think I need a bit more of front of my pelvis, goes forward and up, away from the long leg, away from the long leg, away from the long leg. And the same thing is my volume of the head, front of the pubic bone goes up and up, up and over, while my fat feet goes down, and front of the pelvis goes forward and up, fat feet down, expanding, softness in my throat, my jaw, fat feet down, lean my fat feet down, and my volume of my head goes forward and out, fat feet goes down, away from my head, away from the whole volume of my head, long leg down, soften my thighs, soften the lower back, soften my fat feet down away from my dome of my inside of my mouth, and to come to the other side. Wide shoulder girdle on top, my long leg, shoulder blades goes back and up, and soften the back of the knee, and wide shoulder girdle goes up and over, soften back of the knee, soften my toes, wide shoulder girdle goes up and over, away from each other, shoulder girdle away from the fat feet, or spiraling lower legs, yes, shoulder girdle away from the spiraling lower legs, taking that one, changing to that spiraling lower legs out, and shoulder girdle expanding into space, away from the lower legs, falling down, dropping the lower legs into the floor, and down, away from the widen shoulder girdle, even now, away from each other, go further away. Spiraling lower legs down away from the shoulder girdle, expanding, and lower leg down, expanding shoulder girdle. Let the lower leg drop underneath my body, underneath the wide shoulder girdle, inside of the lower leg goes forward, underneath my shoulder girdle, soften my thighs, soften my toes and my throat, and bring up my back of the head, volume of my head, what I did the first round, to bringing forward, releasing my thighs. See in a new situation. Soften the ankle and the back of the knees. Oh, widen in the shoulder girdle, especially now. Bring my scapula back and up, away from the legs. Actually, first the legs down, scapula's back and up. Yeah, first that one. Because it was fun, I'm doing the head rolls again in a parallel and rotated situation, narrow and further away. And my nervous system should kind of relax a bit. I did it already. And yeah, I'm working more on my tools. So I'm letting go of the unnecessary thoughts, letting go of unnecessary tension. So scanning shortly my body, soften my ankles, my knees, to allow my thighs to drop lower down, that my shoulder blades can go back and up, further away, longer distance. Head and neck is free. Relax my jaw to send my head up and over, to bring my head, the volume of my head around, up, and to the other side, releasing the ankles and going around into the hands. Don't describe, I'm losing the tools to release in the head and neck, sending the heels further down into the floor, away from my sit bones, up to the ceiling. Soften back of the knee, legs down, head up, and soften the knee. And volume of the head goes far out, away from my left foot, further away. Soften the distance away from the feet, soften the ankles, and head up and over. And the head neck joint is higher than I think, and letting go of the ankles, and the bone goes forward and up, higher above my long legs. Release the legs before sending them down, head up, and head up, long legs down, and long legs down. The inside of the legs drop down when I feel the gravity, the weight of the arm, and sending the head up. And a bit faster with expanding shoulder girdle, letting go. And sending the legs down to expand the shoulder girdle, further away, wide, soft shoulder girdle, and drop. And sending wide shoulder girdle, drop. Up. Sending the legs down, away from the shoulder girdle away, fat feet, inside of the foot, down, up. So I just changed from the volume of the head to expanding shoulder girdle because I had the feeling I needed more side instead of just on top of it. Therefore, I start in the narrow position, working already with that to continue with that tool. Wide shoulder girdle, which includes the shoulder blades go back and up, away from the legs, go forward and down, release the thighs. Okay, shoulder blades goes back and up, and shoulder blades away from each other, face goes up to the ceiling, shoulder blades away from each other, soften the knee, soften the toes, belly bone goes forward and up, away from the long legs, soften the ankles to let the legs down, wide shoulder blades, away from each other, extending the shoulder blades away from each other, even further, soft toes, and up, and wide shoulder blades, go around, up, soft sternum, leading up, the head and neck is higher than I think, and soften the knees, legs down, wide shoulder girdle, expanding the shoulder girdle, and now expand further, long leg down, long leg down, long leg down, expanding the shoulder girdle with the long legs down, soften the ankles, and I want to go faster, soft shoulder girdle, long leg down, wide the shoulder girdle, wide legs down, soft the toes, soft ankle, and wide shoulder girdle, soft ankles, and leg down, release the thighs, wide shoulder girdle, release the thighs. Woo. Okay, let's have fun with a bigger head rolls now in a further or bigger rotated situation. Sorry, I should talk what I'm scanning. So I just released my bum and my thighs there to allow my pelvis to go higher. Pubic bone goes forward and up, while the femur bones and the whole leg goes down. They drop down, and I'm expanding my rib cage and expanding the rib cage, and to my side, expanding, and soften the sternum going up, over, sending the knees away, soften the throat, pubic bone goes forward and up, away from the legs down, and wide rib cage, extending, widening the rib cage, and long leg down and out, soften the ankles, up, and soften and widen the lower back, in between the shoulder blades, widen the shoulder blades away from each other, and my pelvis is higher above my legs, to soften the legs to legs down, widen the rib cage, three-dimensional rib cage, goes also back and up, and legs down, soften, widen, and let's go up, wide, soft shoulder girdle, rib cage. We're thinking of the rib cage, wide rib cage, soften fat feet, rib cage, soften ankles, and wide soft rib cage, and soften the knees away, and up, to let go the legs down, rib cage, expanding even further, expanding the rib cage, up, UBHAS. Fat feet away from my head, pop, and feet up, feet head, feet head, feet head, and feet hopping to hop, hop, and feet away from my head, head away from my feet, and let's go to lengthen, feet away from my head to pop, pop, and pop, feet up, feet down, not up, head is up, feet down, head away from my feet, long distance from my feet, and head away from my feet, up, and let's go, up, and soften my throat, pop, the ankles, soften back of the knee, legs down, leaving the head behind, legs down, head up, and pop, and head neck is higher than I think, and up and over, to hit, soften, to go, up, up, wind the shoulder to pop and anchor joint, pop, legs down, head up, up, legs down, head up, leaving the head behind, legs down, head up, head away from the popping joint, and pop, head away, up, pop, pop, let it go, up, up. Don't know why I'm all the time in the frame. Now I'm doing some pre-falls. I'm using, which tool I'm using first? I'm sure. Yeah, before I was sensing the air and the floor. I would like to go again with the distance. Expanding shoulder girdle away from my fat feet. Shoulder girdle up and over on my fat feet. And expanding the shoulder girdle. And fat feet leaving behind. And shoulder girdle up and over. Up and over. And wide shoulder girdle up. Even further wide shoulder girdle up. I go again. My legs are dropping forward and down, away from my shoulder blades back and up. But actually it's the same thing. No, I want to do something else. I want to go with a horizontal falling and see what I'm seeing. A bit more seeing with the horizontal falling. Okay, proper start. See. See. And horizontal falling. And I'm fall. Up. Horizontal falling. Real falling there. Looking where I'm going to. Looking where I'm going to. Up. And up. That's it. Okay. I would like to go floaterwards, back and up. The legs go forward and down. The last time in Brussels, there you were helping me quite a bit. It was a really nice feeling. Let's see if this is helping me again. I cannot recreate the feeling from that, but I remember that it was helping. So floaterwards, back and up, away from the legs, forward and down. So floating ribs, back and up. Floating ribs, floating ribs, floating ribs, floating ribs. Floating ribs, yes. Floating ribs, floating ribs, and floating ribs. Legs go forward and down, forward and down, and floating ribs, floating ribs, floating ribs, and legs go forward and down. That was challenging with forward and down, going forward and backwards, but I didn't want to go again out of frame. Let's see how this worked out, but it felt quite good. Thank you. Okay. So I work with the tools, expanding the rib cage three-dimensionally, away from the lower legs, dropping down. So the distance. I had some moments which I really enjoy, the expanding, also front and back, while standing the lower leg down, especially with the zigzagging with Cal, or with the dynamic change of the rhythm and from one side to the other. I could feel that I was kind of having too much unnecessary tension. Was not too much, like it was disturbing me, but I just noticed that I could let go a bit more of my head, neck, and also the lower back. I would like to experience more the trunk, more off the legs actually, that the legs can drop even further down. I was just thinking of working again with a long distance, but now I tend also that I just noticed that I was starting to smile. To pick this tool, but I would like actually to experience and sense a bit more my environment, the air particles, move them away. Yeah, would like to go sensing the air and the floor by distributing my body parts a bit more away from each other. Okay. I have to say that I really enjoyed to feel and to sense the air running through my fingers and on my skin, also on my leg, and also to slide the floor, to sense the floor with the sole of my feet and my toes, just to lengthen out before I go up and over. So I really enjoyed that moment, and then I had to start to laugh and enlighten from inside out, to get back focused to my task, that I stay to my focus. I could also really enjoy the horizontal falling, which was really nice. Hello. Sorry for that. Go back to my thought of train. Yeah, what else I observed? Well, I also observed that my head neck was a bit more free than the first time. Actually, I would like to realize even further up that my head neck is further up than I think. To work on the volume of the head, or the inside of my mouth, to soften that a bit more, to allow a longer distance, to send it up away from the legs. So if I would go a third time, I would go working now on volume of the head, moving into space away from my fat feet. Thank you.